Libras, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for April 4th through the 10th of 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link because the signs are different. All right, so Libra, this week we've got a new moon in your 6th house on Thursday. So this is a time of now new beginnings with your work life, or maybe your routine, your health, your diet, your regiments, your self-improvement. And this has already been a big area of focus for you because you've had the sun here and your ruler Venus here. And so with Venus, maybe even enjoying some of these things as well. Enjoying some of that self-improvement, organizational stuff, time management, energy management, maybe even meeting people at work and stuff. All right, so this is going to be a very freeing new moon and a very transformative new moon, which I'll cover. But now this week, especially approaching it, on Thursday with this new moon, there's now these new seeds being planted around these daily activities of yours, these everyday experiences. And on a fundamental level, your self-refinement, your self-improvement, and how you can work with the grounded energies of taking care of your body and also developing spiritually as well. Because the 6th house is a very spiritual house, and it is in Pisces for you. All right, so it's going to be a spiritual time for all of us. And it's a good time during any new moon to retreat, to go within, to meditate on this stuff, to see where you can have new beginnings with your self-improvement and perhaps even your crafts on that daily level. Now, the aspects associated with this are all aspects taking place this week. All right, all the aspects this week are with the sun. And these are the aspects of the new moon. So the sun's going to be trining up to Saturn, squaring up to Pluto on Wednesday. Then the new moon on Thursday. And then over the weekend, the sun does conjoin up to Uranus, which is also associated with that new moon. So in terms of this trine from Saturn, there's a lot of this discipline available with it. Now, a lot of this is a bit reflective at the moment because Saturn is retrograde. Okay, but this is about discipline with your self-reliance, discipline with your perhaps material security, your finances for some of you, right? Having that patient approach. Self-limitation is good because it helps us prolong things in the long term. All right, so whatever it is you're reflecting on here, also whatever it is that's motivating you right now to cultivate your values in life, can be very strong and very supportive to this new moon. Now, on Wednesday in particular, Pluto is going to be squaring up to the sun in that 6th. And this has been a Pluto in your 3rd, so over many years there's been a lot of deep transformation happening with your mind, with how you speak, how you communicate, how you interact with others. And this is going to be emphasized as a very intense aspect. It does happen twice a year, but it's always an aspect of deep change. And so what's happening is through this deep psyche, this acceptance, hopefully, about the mind and bringing to balance healthy thinking, healthy communication, and seeing where there might be some fears around this stuff, which is Pluto usually, because it's the fears that lead to the attachment here, the attachment to your ideas, the attachment to what you say or communicate. And so the more open you are to letting all that go, and it's really about letting the fear go, because it's, again, the fear that leads to the attachment. So it's a good time to really dive deep with the self, really dive deep with your mind, dive deep with your communications, and see what can be let go of, fear-based, so that you can have this true power of communication, which isn't you and isn't something the ego wants or controls or owns, but is just God working through you, through the communication. Because Pluto strips everything in the material realm away, including the ego stuff. Now, this is going to be strongly associated with the self-improvement area, with the sun here. So when it does come to your work, your daily activities, whatever you do on a daily level here, Wednesday and Thursday in particular, maybe even Tuesday, having that non-attachment to what you're creating or working on or doing on a daily level or with your routines or your regiments or whatever, non-attachment will help this, again, very deep energy work then in a flowing way, in a way that's harmonious. At least, the change will happen, but we won't be fighting with it. It won't be a bumpy ride. It won't be a heavy current. So those are the two key areas with that. And it's all about integration, right? How can you transform the mind so you can transform the self through self-improvement, spiritual development? And how can you transform yourself spiritually, which will then help assist in your mental and communicative transformation, right? So that's the integration point with those two houses. Now, in terms of the conjunction with Uranus, this is very freeing new moon, all right? And this is all about this larger picture that over about the past 6-7 years, well, 6 years, there's been a lot of this freedom for you, or this freedom trying to come through your daily activities. Maybe at work, maybe with whatever it is you do with your diet, your health, your regimens. It's very important for you to have autonomy here, individuality here. And so with this new moon, there's a lot of freedom coming through this. And so it's about honoring the true self, because the true self is here. Saying there might be some things that might need to be changed or something, or some things that will be let go of in regards to the daily stuff, so that you can really access the freedom of the daily activities, freedom of self-improvement, freedom of self-refinement. So these are the areas, and like I said, during a new moon, it's always good to reflect on this stuff, and then next week, once the lunar energy starts to move forward, it'll be more about integration and implementation with these things. Now, specifically, involving the, well, let's look at the beginning of the week. Mercury, okay, this very early part of the week is shifting into your 7th house. So while all of this is going on this more earthly, spiritual level for you, there's also a shift of thinking, I think, in terms of relationships for you. And you're probably going to find more thinking about that, more thinking about your partnerships and all types of interrelations. And there could be some good communication there. Mercury's entering into fiery Aries. Okay, so it could be a lot of that active energy through those one-to-one connections. So I think that's great, and that's kind of the polar energy here with this, because this is very spiritual time with this 6th house, and this is a bit of a fiery outward type of time with Mercury and those interrelationships. So seeing that, working with it, because at the end of the month, Mercury is going to go retrograde in the 7th house, and so it's a good time for you to be learning about relationships, communicating there, and really going through the experiences of that. All right, Libra, so I hope you guys have an excellent week. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll see you all next week.